Welcome back to the Corporate Classy but Please Come Correct podcast. I am your host, Alberta Thomas, and I am back with another episode again this week. Just to kind of recap a little bit about what we talked about on the last episode, right? We talked a lot about setting boundaries in our lives, whether it's personal, whether it's business, making sure we understand that setting boundaries will give you that self respect, but also allow people to respect you and what your expectations are. And you're creating those boundaries around yourself. But in order to do that, we kind of deep dive into making sure that you understand what those boundaries are and actually what they look like and what are some steps that you can do to understand what you want. So I want to be able to build on that because like I said in the last episode, that has been a topic of discussion with anyone I've encountered over the last couple of weeks, including myself, right? So I want to make sure that we talked about some of those things and how I'm able to set those boundaries and stand 10 toes down on what my boundaries are. Okay. Okay. So this week, I wanted to be able to add on to that because it is important to understand that when you are setting boundaries, that you're able to identify and live life on your own terms. Okay. And that's a big thing. That's a big one. And I talk about this all the time, but I don't really talk about it. But living your life and navigating your life on your own terms with the support of whatever spiritual God, whatever your beliefs and your core values are, live life on your own terms. And, I had to learn this, right? I had to learn not to care about what people say. I had to learn to make sure I do what is going to make me happy. I had to learn that there is a process in life of what your needs, what your desires are, and how can you be purposeful to others in the midst of those things as well. So, when I say fully embrace life on your own terms, whatever that may look like for you, I really truly mean that. And I feel the only way you're going to be able to understand that is if you understand why you want to live on your own terms, how important it is to you, and what is going to continue to make you happy. And the only way you're going to be able to do that is if you can identify what your core values are. And I know previous episodes, I talk about core values. I talk about values I had to unlearn. Some I wanted to take on with me in life, just based upon experience in life of what I want my life to look like and how it made people feel or how that experience made me feel. So just being able to understand what your core values are and why they're important to you and all those things going to be fulfilling for you. Because I think too, and I talk about this all the time, of how sometimes whether you're at work or whether you're in a relationship, you can tend to get complacent or you can get comfortable or you feel like that's what I need to do because society says I need to stay here, I need to do this, I need to be uncomfortable, I need to just do this. Or work says, hey, put your head down, you can't do this. You follow my rules. You work for me. So it's like, again, understanding your personal core values and making sure you're in the right place that could be able to support what those core values are is super freaking important. Okay. And I'm just sitting here thinking, and I made a post about it on social media just this past weekend, just about how I am currently celebrating 8 years working in retail. Okay? Did y'all hear what I say? 8 freaking years. I'm gonna count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 years working in retail and discovering who I am, going through life, good experiences, bad experiences, just continuing to transform, grow, lead a team of almost 80 people. Like, oh my God, to just say I hold it down, right? I put the work in, right? I have people supporting. It's a beautiful thing. Even when things get tough, right? Even when things get tough, I'm like, dang, I hold it down for 8 freaking years. And I do work for an amazing company too. So shout out to my job for allowing me. Let me tell you something. When we talk about being authentically who you are, that's something that I do. And I shared on a post a couple of days ago about how important it is that in the midst of me learning and growing and transforming into someone else at the different levels and stages of my life, I want to make sure I remain the same person and remain who I am, what my core values are, what my belief system is, and I'm able to do that in my work. Like, I'm able to do that at work. I'm able to say whatever the heck I want to say professionally, but also I do not change who I am to accommodate anyone. Okay? There is a difference between accommodating and adapting. Okay? You follow me? There is a difference between accommodating and adapting and allowing people to embrace who you are, but also make sure you are embracing other people. Let me tell you, I have experienced in my life so much in my life I have experienced just over the course of the last couple of years. And I would not change not one experience that I have experienced because they are a part of who I am and it makes up the core values of the person that I loan and will continue to be every single day. So when I tell you live life on your own terms means so much to me. Coming from a small town, and I told this story early on in my podcast. If you haven't listened, go back and listen to season 1. I kind of gave you guys a walkthrough of how I transitioned and picked up my entire life and moved over to Portland, Oregon for work and how I built my life here and all of those good things. Um, but being able to navigate life, right? I'm now 33 years old, and I'm gonna have to talk about this on one of my episodes. I'm 33 years old, no kids, not married. I did not embrace life the way that society has set me up to embrace life. I knew in order for me to have the things that I want, to have the additional ventures that I do, entrepreneurship, being in the community, and being able to work towards providing my family something else that's bigger than me, it is going to require me to live life on my own terms. And I can confidently walk and stand boldly in things that I am confident about, right? So I didn't go out here to do the norm, right? Go to school, find a husband, you have a kids, you settle down, you work a little, you don't work a little. I didn't do all of that. But that was a choice for me. I made that decision for myself, not to live the regular normal life. I knew that there was going to be something a little bit bigger for me. And I knew there is something that I'm ultimately going after, and it's going to require me to move and being able to operate in a life of which I want to operate in. And so it's a beautiful thing when you're able to work on yourself, continue to heal, and understand that life is bigger than you. It's a beautiful thing to see. But in the midst of me saying all of that, you also got to understand where to place your energy, right? So, being able to know these things and understand these things in life, it makes everything super easy, right? And so, when we talk about core values, that's where you lead into prioritizing what is important to you, right? Is it family? Is it work? Is it being able to travel the world? Is it being able to build the community of which you're serving in? Like what are your priorities? And do you have goals set around those priorities? How often do you check those goals, right? And so for me personally, at the beginning of the years, not just this past year, I always set goals for myself. And nothing is more rewarding than being able to say, dang, I did that. What was the benefits of me doing that? Was that beneficial? Is this something that I need to continue to do? Do I need to remove this from my life? Is this something that's going to be rewarding for someone else? Is it going to be fulfilling for me? Like, is this something that needs to be there? And so being able to spend time to reflect on those things, whether it's work, personal, whatever, is a beautiful thing to see and to have. And if you check that box and it was successful, man, what is more rewarding than that? I feel good when I get stuff done. I feel good when I make an impact. I feel good if someone that I know was able to feel fulfillment or witness fulfillment and I was able to give them what they need. And I would tell you, me 6 years ago, wouldn't give a damn about you, right? It was all about me. But man, as I navigate life and understand why I am placed in different situations, it is something bigger than me. It is something that is so much bigger than me. And because I have the strength and because I've been tested so many times that I have to continue the mission that I am on, the journeys that I'm on, and continue to do it with no regret, with happiness, and if I have to have those moments of me checking in with God to see where I am in life, am I still on the right path? Am I really truly listening to what those things are? Am I really truly listening to what it is that I should be doing? And sometimes I found myself before in the past double checking, like, is this right? Why you place this in my life? Why are these people a part of my life? What is the thought process behind this? What is the lesson? Are you building something bigger for me? Like, what am I doing here? So when I tell you I really do have hard conversations with God, I do. Because I need to understand some things, especially when it don't make sense. Not that I'm questioning God. I just need clarity. So it is a beautiful thing to be able to spiritually be connected and spiritually understanding myself and having self confidence in myself. Let me tell you, you would never know if I'm not confident in something. I'm going to tell you that right now. I don't care if I don't know what's going on, what's happening. I am walking and standing boldly with confidence. I don't care what it is. And so when you have core values, you prioritize your goals, and you have a lot of confidence in yourself, man, moving on your own terms in life, it'll be that much more rewarding. I promise you. So I'll tell you, those are some of the things that help me just navigate life. And I use this episode to kind of really reflect on me being where I'm at 8 years now. For me thinking I was going to be a nurse. Yo, I couldn't put everything on my posts that I made on social media, right? So at one point I thought I wanted to be a nurse, and another point I said, well, nope, I don't want to do that. Maybe I'll be a physical therapist. Maybe I wanted to be a physical therapist. Man, I thought I wanted to do so many different things in life, but ultimately, I knew I had to do what was required of me, right? What I really truly wanted to do, and me being able to step out in life and understand, like, hey, look, I'm living life on my own terms, and I got to go figure out what that is and what that looks like. I'm going to have to make that decision for myself. Can't no one make that decision for me, even when you know people are wanting the best for you, and they want to make sure you get the wisdom, get the knowledge, that you have just little things of their personal life experience, and just be able to share some of those things too. And I think ultimately, as long as you know you have a very supportive, group of people around you, on top of being able to make your own decisions and making sure that you also safe in making those decisions as well, I feel ultimately is going to be so much more rewarding, right? And you won't be able to experience those things until you really truly step out and expand your horizons a little bit. And so I'll tell you, that's something where I feel like in my life that my life had shift and made a turn, because I did step out on faith with God right beside me and making that bold decision to figure out life on my own terms. And it's a beautiful thing to see. So, as long as you have confidence that you are prioritizing your goals, that you are being very intentional about what your goals are, it's going to be a piece of cake for you. It is going to be a piece of cake for you. And I will also say, when you are prioritizing your goals, what do that look like, right? I would tell you, for me, what is very rewarding is being able to look at a list of things, being able to see a list of things in front of me, knowing that, okay, I want to be able to do this is what I got to do to get there. And then at the end of the year or whatever time period that I set, I want to make sure I reflect on that, right? So I'm able to see, okay, this works. See, you did a good job here. What was the return on investment here? Or who benefit from this? Is this what you wanted to get out of this? Like, what were your goals? And is this something that you can no longer continue? Do you need to remove this off your goals and possibly even your dreams? And then when you're able to identify those things and also reflect on those things and move forward, man, it's a beautiful thing to see. It is a beautiful thing to see. And so for me, being able to check a box because I got something accomplished, or someone benefit from something that I did for them, or anything of that nature, that's where I get my feel good moments at, right? So if you're old fashioned like me, setting goals, writing it down, being very intentional with the goals and checking in. Some people like vision boards, and making sure you are managing your time, right? Don't waste your time, because one thing about and anybody will tell you, I don't like my time to be wasted. So please, please don't waste my time. because I'm definitely not going to waste yours. And so making sure that you manage your time well and it's not being wasted by things that's not going to benefit not only you, but for the greater good or your purpose in life. And so having to navigate life through experiences, I would tell somebody who is, stepping out there trying to figure it out is go through life experiences. I'm not saying go out here and do crazy things, but go through life experiences so you can actually learn. So you can actually really learn from those things. And I will tell you, most of the time when you find grandma or you find your siblings or your parents giving you advice, what are you giving you advice from? Experiences, something someone taught them, and nothing is wrong with that. Nothing is wrong with that, but be okay being out here going to experience life and give yourself grace. And that is something that I am continuing to do still to this day. Is if something don't go right or if something interrupt the flow of the process of things, giving myself grace is my number one priority because I am hard on myself to the point of I used to sabotage myself because I was that hard. And I'm always trying to prepare for the unknown, right? Being very proactive in life, which nothing is wrong with that, okay? Being able to be proactive, but also making sure by being proactive, still be in the moment of different experiences, right? Still stand in those things and experience whatever it is that's going on. So I would tell you those are some really key things that I was able to navigate and kind of take with me in life. And again, there is no playbook to you being and living on your own terms. You can try your best to stick to what that looks like for you, but there is no playbook to life. And it's about what you make out of it. It's about what you get and make life. It's about what you get out of life and what you make of it. Dang, took me a lot to say that just now. Look, I'm gonna tell y'all, look, I'm about to go off topic for a second. So I'm literally recording this session. This is my second take, okay? The first take, half of the episode went through, half didn't. So now I'm trying to remember what I said before because I'm in the moment. I want to be able to authentically be in my moments. And because my mic went crazy, I wasn't able to be in the moment. All right. So now I got to go back, make sure I don't double say something 50,000 times. Look, the life of a content podcaster, host, editor, what I don't know what else to say. But that's his life. That's his life that listen, you won't be able to see unless you experience this. So, last thing I would say on this note of gaining control is making sure that we embrace being independent, right? I'm not talking about going out here saying you don't need a man, you don't need a woman, you don't need nothing from anybody. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about being okay with having things for yourself, being able to take care of yourself, if not being able to take care of you and another family. I think it's important that we understand to embrace the development of being independent and being able to rely on yourself in life and understand in life that what people provide for you or added value. Those are added things to your life. And for me, that's one thing that goes right along with my core values is being able to be very much independent have my stuff together, but whatever it is that people are giving me, or whatever someone comes into my life and do, or something come into my life or do for me, it's added value. And we don't talk about that. And me, I'm gonna talk about that on another episode because I can go deep with being independent. And I'll tell you, I commend my mother and my sister so freaking much for giving me that value throughout life. I can remember them telling me, see, get your stuff together, make sure you got your things in order so you would never have to rely on somebody. You never know when something might happen. Like, you never know. You want to make sure you good, that you're straight, and blah, blah, blah. Shout out to my sister and my mom. Because still to this day, that's how I maneuver my life. That is one of those core values that I would never take away, that I would never remove or take for granted. Because had they not told me that, would I go as hard, or would I have grind as hard to get what I need and where I need to be? And I reflect it. Think about those things. And I think a lot of times people don't want to embrace the fact that they're good. Like, I really don't need you for anything. I would never tell you that. However, what you provide for me is value, is added value. And that's what I want. And so I maneuver my life that way. I maneuver my life that way. And of course, not everybody thinks that way. And that is okay. But for me, it worked. For what it is that I'm trying to do with my life, it worked. And I commend them for that. And so being able to embrace fully who you are, and when you do that, being able to, again, what we talked about on the last episode, setting those boundaries that can enhance who you are, whether it's personal or professional, and stand firm on that. And so I would tell you, talk about life experiences. Let me give you one. When I move across the country, thousand of miles away to Oregon, I am embarking on another journey of me and really finding myself and really not being in the shadows of anybody or anything. And I would tell you, when you're born and raised around your family in the same area, in the same state, and when life happens, it's great to have support around you. It's really, really good to have supportive people. And for me, being home and being closely connected with my family, because I love being with my people, the beautiful thing is I always had support. I mean, anything can happen. Car can break down, midlife crisis, having a bad day. Like, my family will show up and make shit happen. Call my sister. My car isn't working. I don't know what's going on. Boom, we're on the way to the car lot the next day. So it feels good when you have support like that. And it's a beautiful thing to have and to see. But when I did move far away from them, life was different, right? So if something happened, and when I first moved, something happened, right? Things happen. Life happened where I don't have that. I can't make that phone call because I'm on my own. I don't know no one here yet or anything like that. Like, I have to figure it out on my own. And so me stepping away from under comfortability, man, it's like a whole nother ball field, but it is a beautiful experience. And I'll give you an example. I'll tell you, I can remember when I first moved here. I was staying in an Airbnb, I want to say for maybe like a month or 2 months. My furniture finally arrived. I'm moving in my own place. I remember the day when they were setting up my furniture. Some things were missing. I had other people things. Oh, it just wasn't the same. And then on top of me maintaining work, freshly knowing my role, I mean, everything was chaotic. But I kid you not, you would never know my life was chaotic unless you were really, really close to me and you talk to me on a regular basis. You would never know my life was going crazy. But I can remember that moment, that day, I was so overwhelmed. I'm like, "Oh my god, I gotta replace all this furniture." It was just a whole thing. When I tell you a whole thing, it was a whole thing. So, I ended up, um, calling my friend, and she just allowed me to cry. I didn't need anything. I know I was able to handle anything that was happening, like, I was prepared, like, it was okay. I just was overwhelmed in the moment, and I just needed to cry because when I was in that moment and as of, like, now, when I talk about it and I were and to reflect on it, I know, that I was overwhelmed, and I knew that I was lonely, I didn't have no family there, like, I was getting hit with the reality and the move that I made. And so, when I think about it, I'm like, "Man," one thing I can really reflect on is that I didn't have my family there in the moment, but the beautiful thing about how I was raised is my family gonna support me, and they gonna show up every single time. But in the midst of them showing up every single time, you know what else is taking place? Okay, so if we're not able to get to you or get there, let me show you what you need to do. Let me show you how to navigate this. So if I'm not there, what would have been your options? What would you have done? And so I was prepared, even in the midst of me being far away. So shout out to my family for being amazing and for supporting me always and giving me all the love and the care and embracing who I am. And as I continue to heal and grow and learn and discover who I truly am. And it's a beautiful thing. I love it. I love it. We talk about this all the time, how babies are always changing and they're growing up, but in life in general, we're constantly changing and growing and doing new things, trying new things, embarking on new journeys. Like it's a beautiful thing. I kid you not. So I would tell you that's all I got. Between making sure you build self confidence, that you overcome self doubt, and that you embrace being independent and not relying on people, on top of time management, managing your goals, your dreams, all of those things matter. But everything that you do has to be intentional and it has to make sense and go into full alignment with your core values. So again, that's all I got. Before I go, I want to tell you thank you guys heavily for supporting me, for all the plays and the listens and the comments that I get, the texts, the phone calls, the emails, all the things that you guys send me. I just want to say thank you so much for the love, the support. Again, my podcast is my therapy. I pour it out, it's my space. I say, I do whatever. And I mean, I'm going to continue to open up and allow you in. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe on all of my social media platforms. You can find me at Corporate Classy Podcast on Instagram or Bravo CC on Instagram. That's my personal page. You can find me on Facebook, Alberta Thomas, TikTok, Bravo CC. I am also excited that I have expanded my platform. You can now listen to my podcast on Radio as well as Amazon Music. So listen, between Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, you have tons of ways on how to stay connected to me. So again, thank you so much for continuing to tune in with me. I am your host, Alberta Thomas. Until next time, peace.